Welcome to this POSSE training video. In this video, we'll be looking at how to open and edit processes, how to assign and schedule processes, and then how to complete processes. Now, at any point in this video, if you get stuck on something or you miss something, feel free to pause the video and go back and look at it. We want to make sure that you're getting the most out of the video as possible. And with that, let's get started. Now, before we go any further, I do want to make it clear that even though in this video we'll be looking at just a couple of different processes, that all of the processes in POSSE work generally the same way. So once you know how to work with just the few we'll be showing you, you should be able to use that across the board on any processes in POSSE. Now for this video, we'll be looking at a process that's currently assigned to my Building Code Plans Reviewer user. So let's go to my to-do list. And then we'll select this Prepare Print Comment Sheet process. Hitting the green play button will open up the job itself and then slide the process in from the right. This is true of all processes in POSSE Web. They'll always be on the right side here. And now all processes have the same general layout. We'll have general functions at the top, we'll have basic process information in the middle, and then we'll have any of the specific details or tabs included in the lower portion down here. Now, at the top here, we have a few different options available. First is the complete option. This is what we'll do when we're done with the process and we're ready to move on from this point in workflow to the next step. By selecting the complete button, it'll give us outcomes that are the possible endings for this particular process. We're not going to do that right now, so I'm going to hit cancel. Next is the claim button. If this wasn't already assigned to me and it was assigned to somebody else, I can hit the claim button here to immediately move it onto my own to-do list. And that will change who's assigned here in the assignment field. Last is the delete button. If this process is no longer needed or was created in error, we can just hit delete to remove it from the processes tab, which is seen like this. The final option here is the reports option. The little arrow here will give us a drop down of all the possible reports we can run from here. Now in this case, we have two different reports that are essentially the same one. We have Plans Examiner's comment sheet, and then we have the same comment sheet, but it says draft. And there's a little difference in the image because there's a little download arrow here, and there's no arrow here. The difference here is that this one will automatically download and save to the Documents tab on this building permit as soon as I run it. So we want to save this for when we're definitely done with all of our changes and we're ready to save the final version of the comment sheet. The draft version won't save automatically, and it'll only appear in my browser as its own report. So we'll use this until we're ready to go, but we can use this to make sure that we've made all the changes we need to and that the comment sheet looks the way we expect it to. Last is the audit report. This is just used for noticing changes and modifications that have been made to this process. Now we'll come back to the rest of these details in a moment, but for now let's enter some information on the details tab below. The type of comment sheet, we'll just start typing building code comment sheet and then press enter to complete the value from the dropdown. We can enter a phone number, give it a review number of 1. And now the mandatory values are marked with the red asterisks before the name here. So I'm going to jump down to this express status here and select no to make sure that field is also filled out before I hit save. Next, I want to move to the comments tab, which is where we can add notes, which include all of our comments for this particular building review. I'm going to select the new option and select a building code comment sheet and fill out my comments. And select OK, and then save. So now that we have some details filled out and some comments provided, we can go back up to that report value and let's run the draft report to see what it looks like. Now this is going to open a report and run it in a new tab in POSSE Web. We'll let it load, And of course, where we were previously is still kept in the original tab here on the left. we'll see it's generated the report, and we can see our comments are shown down below, and it's going to leave a nice big draft watermark over the top to let us know that this is not the final version and it's not saved anywhere yet. But at least at this point, I can make sure that all the details are correct and that this document is looking the way I expect it to. I'm just going to close out of this. Well, with that, let's jump back up to the middle portion here and talk about a few of these functions. First, we have the assign to, which is currently showing myself. But if I needed to assign this process to someone else to do the work, we can easily select the magnifying glass here and select the name of a user. I'll start typing and press enter. Find Matthew Wong, select his name and hit OK. If we save that, it will now move this process off of my to-do list and onto his, and it's actually going to inform me that I'm no longer assigned, it's actually Matthew that's assigned to this process. Next, we have the process description. If we need to make a change to this, say this seems to be incorrect now that we've added this value here, we can modify it just in this field, or we can use the expand button here to pull up the whole process description in a nice large resizable window so that we can enter a lot of information. Just remove that value there so it looks more correct and hit OK. And save that as well. Next, we have this importance dropdown. Here we have an empty normal importance value and then high and extreme. These are used to inform other people on this job that, hey, this is really important and we need to make sure to prioritize this or get this done quickly. So you can use these flags to communicate with your team. I'll set it to high. Over here we have the scheduled start, scheduled complete dates, and then the actual started and actual completed dates. Scheduled dates here for start and complete will show up on the to-do list as scheduled date and due date. So they're named kind of differently there. Now, if you're feeling a little cramped and you need a little more space down here, what you can do is use the collapse button here to collapse the middle pane of the process, and that gives you a little more space down below. If you want to bring it back, just hit the button again. Now lastly, if we're ready to complete this process, because we've done all of the work we need to, we're going to come up here to run the actual report. This one's going to save to the process, and we're ready to do that. So we'll run that. Now that that's been run, we're going to jump back to our building permit process, and we're going to come here to complete and hit comment sheet saved as our outcome. And that will complete the process, and it will automatically sort it to the bottom of all of the most recently completed processes. And one last thing I want to show before we close this video is how to resize the process pane. If we come to a review building plans for conformance here, you'll notice that there's more details that kind of push off the side of this screen that are a little hard to see. If we want to be able to view them all at the same time, we can pull this bar here, click and drag, and give ourselves lots of room to access the details here. I can use the collapse button over here to completely hide the process. It doesn't go away, it just moves it all the way down to this bar here and allows me to work on the rest of the job. And then when I'm ready to go back and do my work, I can select the expand panel button once again, and it's going to pull it right back to the size we resized it to. So just a kind of a quick and easy way to make sure that we're viewing all of our details in the right size and it's easy for us to get our job done. That about does it for this video. Just to recap, we talked about opening and editing processes, particularly from the to-do list. We looked at how to assign and schedule processes. We looked at how to fill out the details and collapse and expand certain panes within the process pane. And then we looked at how to complete processes with outcomes and also how to run reports. Thanks for watching.